Now that we're getting more comfortable with navigating the darknet, we know how to access websites, how to search for data and search for websites. The next thing that you might need is an email account. Now, similar to search engines, you can actually use email accounts with clear net providers such as Google and Yahoo, because as we know, we can actually load these websites through the Tor browser. So let me show you a quick look. Right here, I have the sign up page for Gmail in my Tor browser. And as you can see, you're asked for a number of things such as your first name, your last name, the email that you want. When you click on next, it'll probably ask you for more personal information such as your phone number and your address, and then it'll sign you up with an email. Same, we have Yahoo here just as another example. Again, as you can see, it asks you for a number of personal information. And then when you fill this up, you will get an email, which you can use from Tor browser on darknet websites or in the darknet really in general. Now, first of all, we have a big problem where these mail providers are asking us for personal information, for our name, for our address, for our phone number, and so on, date of birth. So these might be things that you don't really want to share with these mail providers. Now, to get around this, I want to show you a good website which you can use in many cases. I'm going to include its link in the resources of this lecture, but as usual, with any other darknet website, if the link I gave you doesn't work, look for the website name because the links can change. Now, basically what this website will do, it'll create a fake identity for you. So it'll give you a gender, a name, a second name, age, address, phone number, email. You can change this with your email once you actually change it, and it'll basically give you detailed information about a specific person. And what you should do, you should always use this information whenever you're signing for any service on the darknet. So this will be your identity. You forget about who you are as soon as you start Tails, and from there on, you'll become the person that you're getting from here. Now, an even better solution to this is to take this information and even modify it yourself manually so that you don't forget the information in here. So maybe you can modify the first name, the second name, you can modify the email, but the main idea here is you want to create an identity that you will always use when you're on the darknet and you will never use when you're on the clearnet. This way, your fake identity can never be linked to your real identity. This is also better than you using different identities every time you sign up to a different service, because this way you'll be more consistent and this way you'll always be filling the same data, but this data will be fake, so it's fine, it's not going to link to you. Now, you can use this information here, like I said, to sign up to one of these email services, and then you can use this email for whatever reason you want when you're communicating with friends, or if you're signing up for other darknet websites that require you to have an email address. So this could be an easy solution, but there are still a number of drawbacks to it. First, when you're accessing this service, you're exiting the Tor network because, like we said, when you want to go to a clearnet website, you're going to first go through the Tor network and then you're going to exit out of it to the service that you're trying to access. Now, this exit will be unencrypted, like I said, so anyone who intercepts this data might be able to read it and analyze it. Not only that, but these email providers are known for logging you and tracking everything you do on their servers. So whatever you type, whatever you send, whatever you receive, Gmail probably gonna keep logs on every single thing you do. Now, even though you're using fake information, and even though I'm gonna show you how to encrypt your messages in the future, this could still be a risk because, like I said, they're gonna be analyzing and tracking every single movement you do. So you can do this, like I said, use it with a fake identity. Keep this fake identity completely separate from your real identity. So make sure you never use any of this information on a clearnet website. Make sure you never use any account that's created within this fake identity to communicate with any of your real accounts or any of your real friends on the clearnet. And this might be a good enough solution for you, depending on your situation. But in the next lectures, I'm going to show you more options if you want a more private and more anonymous solution. See, when it comes to picking up an email service, it really depends on why do you want this email and what's your threat model. So the solution that I showed you here could be perfect for you, but it might not be perfect for another person. Or it could be perfect for you in a certain situation, but it won't be good for other scenarios or other situations. Therefore, in the next lectures, I'm going to show you a number of other solutions that you can use in order to set up an email and communicate with other emails, and then you can compare them and pick the best one for you based on the reason why you need this email and based on your threat model. As mentioned in the previous lecture, in this lecture and in the next lectures, I'm going to show you a number of methods to send and receive emails, and then you can sit down yourself, compare them, and see which one suits you best based on the reason why you need an email address and based on your threat model. Now, the first thing that I want to cover is temporary email accounts. As the name suggests, these are email accounts that will work for a short period of time and then they'd expire, deleting all of your emails and all of the information on them. Now, the cool thing about these accounts is, first of all, they're temporary. They require no setup, so they won't request any personal information, and they won't waste any time. As soon as you load the website that offers this service, you will be presented with your inbox, which you can use straight away. So as you can see, this can be very useful in many cases if you wanted to communicate with someone for a short period of time, or if you get asked for an email by a website and the website will send you a confirmation link, so you actually need to have a valid email, then you can use this. And in many cases, you're asked to have a company email, and these emails are great because they actually do look like company emails, unlike other emails that you get from Gmail and so on. Now, the main disadvantage with these email accounts is that they are relatively easy to break into, so you want to be careful about that. But if you're using encryption, which I'm going to show you later on in the course, then even if someone reads your messages, your data should be secure and encrypted as long as your keys are encrypted. But that's something to talk about for another lecture. For now, let's have a look on how to use these temporary accounts. An example right here, we have tempmailadress.com. There's also tempmail.com, and I'm going to include a full list of all of these websites in the resources of this lecture. There are also hidden onion services that offer the same service. So this website right here, gorillamail.com, right here I'm actually on their ClearNet website, as you can see, but they also offer a hidden service. So right here I have the .onion hidden service website, which is called Tor Gorilla Mail, and pretty much it's the same functionality. It gives you a temporary inbox which you can use for 1 hour. After the hour, everything gets deleted. So using the inbox is very simple. You can see, first of all, you can actually set the name that you want to use for this email in here. You can also set the domain, so you can pick the @ domain from any domains that you want in here. And like I said, this can be very useful if the website you're signing up for requires you to have a company email. Once you have these picked up, you can actually copy this email and share it on that website or send it to anyone that you want to receive emails from. But using the email like this makes it easier to guess your ID and gain access to this inbox. So a better way of sharing it is to use the scrambled link in here. So this is basically the same email that you see in here. It's just scrambled so that it's more difficult to know the ID. So you can copy this and give it to anyone that wants to send you an email. And just as an example, I'm going to go to the ClearNet version of this website, this one right here, gorillamail.com, and I'm going to click on Compose. I'm going to set the to email to the email that I have here on the darknet. And let's set the subject to test and set the body to this is a test message. Now, as you can see, you can even add attachments if you want, but I will talk about file sharing in more details in the future. And once you're done, we can just click on send. And perfect, as you can see, it's telling you that the message is dispatched. And let's go to the darknet inbox in here and see if we're gonna receive it. And perfect, as you can see, we got a new message in here. So if we click on this, and we have the content that we expect, which says this is a test message. Now, one thing I should note is, as you can see here in the ClearNet version of this website, you have the compose button where you can compose and send emails. But in the darknet version, this functionality is not working as expected. And even if you click on reply, it's not going to work. Now, hopefully they fix this in the future by the time that you watch this lecture. But for now, the darknet version can only be used to receive emails. But that's not a big problem because, as you can see, through Tor and through Tails, we can actually still access ClearNet websites and we can make full use of this functionality. So, like I said, this is one option of receiving and sending emails. The pros is that it requires no information, no time is wasted on signing up, and everything gets deleted within an hour. Or if you're using other services such as this one, you can pick how long you want to keep the account for. The cons, this might be easier to break into and it is temporary, so it will eventually expire. Therefore, it might not be good for all scenarios or for everybody. And like I said, these are just two examples of websites that offer these services. Check out the resources of this lecture for a list of more websites that offer the same service with slightly different features. The next type of email services that I want to talk about are email services that are focused on privacy and anonymity. So unlike temporary emails, these are proper email services that will give you a proper email. Your inbox will never expire. You will sign up and log in with a password similar to the way you sign up and log in to the email services that you're familiar with, similar to Google and Hotmail. They offer a lot of very useful features. They're user friendly. So again, all of this is similar to the services you're used to, but unlike Gmail and Hotmail and all of these services that collect a lot of data about you, these privacy-focused email services collect no data, they don't store any logs, they don't track you. Most of them use some sort of encryption. The good ones would be using end-to-end encryption, so your email will be encrypted at your end and only decrypted at the destination. Therefore, nobody that intercepts this email will be able to read it. Even the mail provider itself shouldn't be able to read it. Now, I actually look at these services as a hybrid between the email services that we all know and use, such as Gmail, and the email services available on the darknet that I will talk about in the next lectures. Because like I said, first of all, they offer all of the features that we are used to. They are also user-friendly, but at the same time, they won't track you, they won't keep any logs, and they're privacy-focused. And another reason that makes me feel that they are like a hybrid is the fact that most of them are available on the ClearNet and on the darknet. So they'd have a ClearNet address and a darknet address, and they can communicate with both darknet and ClearNet email providers. Similar to the temporary emails, there are a number of providers that offer these services. I highly encourage you to do your own research and read the privacy policy before you sign up with any of them, and never use your real identity if you're using these services in the darknet. Make sure you use your fake identity. With that being said, a very popular example is ProtonMail. So this is just an example of a privacy-focused email provider. It is not the only one, and like I said, I highly encourage you to do your own research and read and see which is best for you. So ProtonMail comes with all of the features that I just mentioned that all of the providers in this category offer. On top of that, it is open source, so all of the code used is available for anyone to read and analyze. And even if you don't know coding, you can be rest assured that people are constantly revising their code and will call them out if they discover anything fishy. ProtonMail also enforces HTTPS on both on their ClearNet and on their darknet website, which is something that is rare on darknet websites, and it is great because that adds an extra layer of encryption. It uses end-to-end encryption, so like I said, the messages that you send get encrypted at your end and only decrypted at the destination and vice versa. So even ProtonMail, if they wanted to read the content of your email, they won't be able to do that because it's going to be encrypted. They also use their own servers, so they don't rent servers from third parties, and all of their servers are in Switzerland, which is a country known for having good privacy laws. With that being said, if you read their privacy policy and their transparency page, you will see that they did reveal information about specific users in order to comply with court orders. But like I said, they keep no logs, they don't track you, and everything is encrypted, so they don't have a lot of information anyway, even if they do reveal this information. And at the end of the day, like I said at the start of this section, I'm showing you all of the options, and you should go with what suits you best in terms of why you need this account and what's your threat model. Now let's go ahead and have a look on this website. So right here I have their ClearNet website, and in here I have their Onion hidden service. For this to work, you should actually put your security settings to medium, to safer, so that it allows JavaScript to be executed on HTTPS pages. Now, depending on your threat model, you might not want to do this, but in general, because this is only done on HTTPS pages, which already has encryption, and because ProtonMail is open source, so all of its code is known, and because of their reputation, it's not a very bad idea to do this. Now, signing up is very simple. All you have to do is just click on sign up. I'm going to choose the free account, and I'm going to select it. And let's set up a username. So like I said, you want to keep in mind that you're going to use your fake identity in here. So I'm just going to set this to JOWCK, and let's put a password. You can also set a recovery email that you can use to recover the password with. I'm going to keep this to blank because I don't want to give a lot of information about myself. And I'm going to click on create account. It's giving me a warning that I'm creating an account without a recovery email, but that's fine. And right now, ProtonMail is going to create the keys that will be used to encrypt your data, your emails. Like I said, it uses end-to-end encryption. So when you send something, it gets encrypted at your end, and it will only be decrypted at the destination. Therefore, anyone in the middle, including ProtonMail themselves, they won't be able to see the contents of your emails. Now you want to give this some time because it could take a few minutes depending on the specs of your computer. Okay, now it's asking me to solve this CAPTCHA. So I'm going to click I'm not a robot. It's not accepting this, probably because I'm using the Tor network. So the other solution would be to verify myself that I'm not a robot using an email. And again, you can use any email in here. I'm going to use a temporary email similar to the ones I showed you in the previous lectures. So I'm just going to go to gorillamail.com. And let's just use a different domain just in case they get a lot of domains like this one. And let's copy this and paste it here. And we're going to send. So it's telling us that the verification code should be sent to the email that we picked. Let's go back and check if we actually did get this verification code. Perfect. As you can see, we have the code in here. It's 974644. So go back here. And we're going to click on complete setup. Again, you want to be patient with this and let it load and create your account. And perfect, as you can see, the account should be set up now. It's asking us if we want to change the name. I'm going to keep it the way it is. I'm going to close these tips. And perfect, as you can see, it's a very nice user interface. Like I said, This really is like a hybrid between what you get on the ClearNet and on the darknet. Using this is very intuitive. I'm not gonna waste more time on it. This is your inbox, drafts, sent, and so on. You click on compose to send a message. The messages that you get will show up in here in the inbox, and you can, from any message, you can click on it. And now that you're inside a message, you can reply, forward, and so on. So that's it for this lecture. Just wanted to cover an example of a private kind of hybrid email service. Like I said, this is not the only one, so please don't take this as the only example. This is just an example, and I want you to understand the whole concept. So there is a whole number of services that operate on the same concept. Like I said, there are a lot of pros to this, as you can see in here. The only cons are the fact that it uses JavaScript and the fact that it is a ClearNet website, it is a proper company, and they have complied and revealed information about their users when the court ordered them to do so. With that being said, like I said, they don't keep any logs, they don't track you, and everything is encrypted, so they can't really reveal too much because they don't know too much. But again, read the privacy policy, continue with the options that I'm going to show you, and pick the option that works best for you based on the reason why you need this service and based on your threat model. In this video, I want to cover the last type of email providers. So as we're going through these videos, the providers will become a little bit harder to use and will have less features, but they will become more private, more secure, and therefore more anonymous. So in the previous lecture, we had a look on privacy-focused email providers such as ProtonMail. They were great. As they don't track you, they keep no logs, they use encryption and all that good stuff. The only problem with them is that they operate both on the clear and on the darknet. They are proper known companies, and therefore sometimes they comply with court orders and might be influenced by agencies and so on. Now, the email providers that I want to show you in this lecture, they come with all of these great features of the privacy-focused mail providers. So they come with no tracking, no logs, require no personal information and all that. And they operate fully from the darknet. So they don't have servers on the ClearNet, and even if they have ClearNet websites, they redirect you to the darknet website. They're less likely to be influenced by agencies and so on. Because all of their servers are in the darknet, so all of them are running as Onion services, therefore by default they benefit from Tor's anonymizing and privacy features. They all use encryption, and therefore they are more secure, more private, and therefore they are more anonymous. Now, there are a lot of darknet email providers. I'll include links to lists in the resources of this lecture. You can go through them and see which one you like the most. As usual, do your own research, read the privacy policy, and pick the one you like the most. In this lecture, though, I'm going to show you two examples of these mail providers. The first one is Elude. It's pretty cool. Like I said, keeps no track, no logging, all that cool stuff. It also uses end-to-end encryption, and your emails are stored in personally encrypted storage. So that's really, really nice. Now, before I go and use this, both of the services that I'm going to show you today do not require JavaScript. Therefore, we can go ahead and set our security settings to the highest. We had to keep it at safer when we were using ProtonMail because it requires JavaScript, but for both of the services that we're going to use today, they do not require JavaScript. Therefore, we can set our security to the highest and they should still work and function as expected. Signing up to this is very simple. All you have to do is go to sign up. Now, like I said, I will include a link to this in the resources of the lecture, so don't worry about that. It's going to ask you for your name. Again, use your fake identity. So I'm going to set it to John Wick. Put a username. So I'm going to set it to JNWK7. Set a password. Solve the CAPTCHA. and click on register. So it doesn't get any simpler than this. When you're done, it's telling us we succeeded. We have the email now, and we can just go ahead and log in. So I'm going to log in with my username, put my password, fill the CAPTCHA. Now it's going to ask you to verify your email. You can do this using any of the other services that I covered before, or you can just skip the verification and go straight to your account. Now that I'm in my account, I'm going to go to the email login to go to my inbox, and I'm going to use the text only interface. And perfect. As you can see, you get a normal inbox that is very easy to use, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But I want to highlight a major feature of this email provider. See, when it comes to darknet email providers, not all of them allow you to send emails to darknet and clearnet addresses. So, Elude is one of these email providers which allow you to communicate with both clearnet and darknet addresses. So, as a test, let me first of all send an email to a clearnet address, to a Gmail address. So this is my other Gmail account. Now, you should never do this in real life scenarios. You should never communicate with your own clearnet addresses, because this can be used to link you and to know who you are. But for now, I'm just trying to show you that this email provider works with both clearnet and darknet addresses. So I'm just going to say this is a test to a clearnet email address. You can also send attachments if you want, but we're going to keep this the way it is. I'm going to send it. And if I go to my Gmail address that I sent this to, as you can see, we got the message. It's telling us that this is a test to a clearnet address. And I can reply, let's just say it works. And if we go back here, go to the inbox, refresh it. Perfect. As you can see, we got the response. If we click on that, it's saying it works. So everything is working as expected, and we can use this account to send emails to both clearnet and darknet addresses. Now, this is one example of darknet email providers. The other example that I want to show you is called Torbox. Like I said, I will include links to this in the resources. And the main difference between Torbox and Elude is that Torbox is completely isolated from the clearnet. This makes it a little bit more private because it literally prevents you from communicating with anyone on the clearnet, therefore increasing your privacy and therefore increasing your anonymity. Also, like I said, the more examples that I show you, the less features they will have and the more anonymous they are. So this email provider has less features and you'll see that, but like I said, it'll be more private and more anonymous. So let's click on sign up to sign up, and you'll see this is again very, very simple. We'll set a name. So again, John Wick. Pick an email. So our email is going to be jnwk7 and it'll be at this address .onion. And we're going to set a password and solve the CAPTCHA. And perfect, the email is done. This is it. You can store it in a text file so you can remember it. And now we can go ahead, click on webmail login to log in. Put the name and the password. And perfect, we're logged in right now. As you can see, the interface is even simpler in here. If you wanted to write a message, you can click on compose. Let me show you. If I send this to my Gmail email address and say test and click on send, you'll see that this will actually be refused. So as you can see, it's telling us that this did not get sent because we are trying to communicate with a clearnet email address. However, if I try to send something here to the Elude email, so this was jnck7@elude.in, keep everything the same. If I click on send, you'll see I'll get no error messages. And if I go to Elude and check my inbox, you can see I have a message coming from my Torbox address. And if we go in, we can see the message content. Now, Elude and Torbox are just two examples of darknet email providers. Like I said, I just wanted to show you two different examples, as like I said, Elude allows you to communicate with both clearnet and darknet addresses, where Torbox can only communicate with darknet addresses. So again, do your own research, read about both of them, see which one suits you best and fits your threat model and fits your needs, and use the one that is best for you. And like I said, I'll include links to all of these and more in the resources of this lecture. Now, in the previous lectures, we covered different types of email providers. Within each type, there are a number of providers, and each one of these providers could have their own pros and cons. Therefore, at this stage, I wouldn't blame you if you feel a little bit confused or find it a little bit difficult to pick which is best for you. Now, the reason why I covered so many different types, because I think each one of these types is different from the other, and knowing all of these types can be very, very useful, because you'll be able to pick which is best based on your scenario. So, as I mentioned at the start of this section, when you want to pick an email service, you want to keep two main things in your mind. Why do you want to use this service, and what's your threat model? Who might be trying to de-anonymize you or discover your location? Keeping that in mind, and in order to revise and make it easier for you to pick a good email provider based on your scenario, I made this simple table that summarizes everything we talked about so far. Now, the main thing you keep in mind is, as we go down in this table, the provider type will be more private, more secure, and therefore more anonymous, but it will have less features. So like I said, it all comes down to why you want to use it for and what's your threat model. So the first type of providers we had a look on were the common services such as Gmail, Hotmail, Yahoo Mail, and all of that. These email providers can send emails to the clearnet and to the darknet, as we saw. They all use JavaScript, so they are less secure. We know that they heavily track you and log everything you do, so they are not private. Like I said, if you really want to use these, you want to make sure that you use fake identity and never communicate with your own email addresses or any other email addresses that can link to your real identity. They do not offer a hidden onion service link, and they do use HTTPS encryption. So these were the base. Then the other example we had was the temporary emails, which in my opinion can be very, very useful in so many scenarios. Like we said, they don't require any personal information to sign up. There is no sign up. You literally get an inbox straight away and you can use it. So you can have unlimited number of emails. Because you're never asked to sign up, they are more private and more anonymous than the normal email providers. They do use JavaScript, so again, they're not as secure as possible. They might be logging you, but the cool thing is some of them offer a hidden service, so you never need to exit the Tor network when you're using them, and they also use HTTPS to add an extra layer of encryption. So this is a really, really good option if you know what you're doing. If you just want a temporary email to send something quickly, to receive something quickly, and this will actually be destroyed once you're done with it. So it can be anonymous enough. It can be great in so many scenarios, again, if you're trying to just bypass a registration form and so on. The next email providers that we had a look on were the privacy focused, or what I called hybrid services. So they can communicate with clearnet and darknet services. They have a lot of nice features. What really differentiates them from the common services such as Gmail, Yahoo, and all of that is the fact that they will not track you, they won't be logging your movement, they don't require personal information. Like I said, these are privacy focused. Some of them will even have a darknet address, so again, you can access them without exiting the Tor network, which will improve your privacy and anonymity. Some of them use end-to-end encryption. Again, in our example, ProtonMail uses end-to-end encryption. So like I said, even if they wanted to see what you're doing, they won't be able to see it. The only problem with these providers is the fact that they are real proper companies, they have servers on the ClearNet, and they have complied to court orders and disclosed information about their users previously. Now, like I said, they keep no logs and they require no personal information, and they use end-to-end encryption, so the amount of information they can share is limited because they don't know a lot. But again, the fact that they do comply sometimes puts them in second place in terms of anonymity. The other thing that you want to keep in mind is the fact that they require JavaScript, so when you use them, you need to have your security settings in the Tor browser to medium, which is not very secure. But if you're using ProtonMail or any other reputable email provider, and if that email provider is using HTTPS, then it is secure enough to enable JavaScript in the medium level. But again, this is still not as secure and as anonymous as possible. This led us to the last email providers, which are completely available on the darknet. They have no ClearNet addresses. So again, when you use them, you never exit the Tor network. This increases your privacy and anonymity. They also do not require JavaScript. So you can put your security settings to the highest, where JavaScript and all of the other features of the browser are disabled that can be used to reduce your security or de-anonymize you. Some of these providers allow you to communicate with both ClearNet and darknet addresses, such as Elude. And we also had an example of Torbox, which is a provider that only allows you to communicate with darknet addresses. Now, this is great because, like I said, it keeps you limited and it keeps you as anonymous as possible. Now, it goes without saying that none of these services track you, none of them keep logs. Because they run as onion services, they make full use of the privacy provided by Tor, and on top of that, some providers such as Elude provides end-to-end encryption and even personally encrypt the storage that stores your emails. And again, because these are darknet services, the location of their servers is unknown and they're less likely to comply with court orders or to get influenced by government agencies and so on. Now, like I said, the examples that I'm giving you in here, these are just single examples of the categories that we see here on the left. So do your own research if you want to learn more about each one of these categories, and don't just take my word for granted. Go read the privacy policy, read the history of each of these companies, make sure that this company or this provider is the best for you, for your scenario, and only then start using it.